And I was gutted because his channel was my favourite channel. You know, he was my favourite YouTuber. I loved his content and his style, and of course I loved his bike. And then he just decided enough's enough, and he gave it up. Yes, it's been a year since I first started publishing videos on YouTube. In fact, it's been just over a year. I really should have made this video about 4 weeks ago. But when it comes to making videos, I often plan my videos. Right, Carl, what are you doing? No idea. Oh, come on. That was a bit weird. But yes, when it comes to making videos, I often plan my videos, and then again, sometimes things just happen in life that I think deserve a video in their own right. You know, things like Laren's MOT, for example, or Laren's fuel leak, getting back on a 125 after having ridden a big bike. You know, all of these things, they just crop up in daily life, and I feel they need a video in their own right, so I'll go ahead and make the video. And then things like this video, yeah, they might just take a little bit longer, but never mind. It has been approximately 13 months now since I first started making, or rather publishing, content on YouTube. And wow, what a journey it has been. I'd say one of the first things I want to do in today's video is I want to talk about my viewers. You see, when you publish videos on YouTube, you do hope, obviously, that someone at least, is going to watch your videos. You certainly hope it's not just you watching your own videos. You know, you do want it to be a case of making videos and someone other than yourself is actually watching them. So when I launched this channel, of course I told my friends and my family so that I could naturally get some views. And I do have some friends and some family members who are great supporters of the channel, who always watch my content. And that's it. In a way, it's kind of expected, and it's something that as a YouTuber you soon realise actually that you will have a lot of friends and family who, no disrespect intended, but they don't care about the content that you're making because maybe they're not interested in bikes and cars and whatever it is you're making content on. So not everyone that you know is naturally going to watch your videos. But one thing that makes a huge difference as a YouTuber is when you start to see views coming to your channel organically from people that you don't know, from, well, for want of a better phrase, random people, strangers, people that you don't know, who are coming to the platform and they see one of your videos, there's something about it that piques their interest, for example YZF R125, and they start watching your videos. And this makes such an amazing difference as a content creator, because you're then seeing views coming to your channel. You know, you see when you first launch your channel, you first publish your first video or your first couple of videos, and then you see you've gotten 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 views, and maybe your video gets 100 views in its first week, which for some people sounds rather minuscule, and for other people sounds like a lot. Well, actually that's quite a lot. And then you think to yourself, that 100 people, that's not all friends and family. This is random people who are watching my content, and it lets you know that there's something about your content, at least, that other people are interested in, and it makes it even more worthwhile making content. Don't get me wrong, I love content creation. I love making these videos that I make. You know, I love videography and the element of creativity that goes into it. Turns out that I'm actually quite a creative person, and I love videography. But yeah, seeing random people watching your video makes it so much more fulfilling and worthwhile. So if you're watching this video, I appreciate you, each and every one of you. Makes it worthwhile for me. And then there's subscribers. You know, these are the people who have decided that, hey, I like that video, or I like that bike, or I like that guy. For one reason or another, they've decided, I'm going to subscribe to this channel. Or maybe they watched a handful of videos before deciding, yes, I'm going to subscribe to this channel. I know that I'm a little bit particular about channels that I subscribe to. And it's not because I'm tight about these things, or because I don't want to help out creators. Of course I do. Of course I want to help out other creators. But I ended up with I was subscribed to so many channels that I had to start being a little bit more careful as to who I subscribe to. But again, it's nice to see that someone's decided actually that there's something about my channel, whether it be me or one of my many vehicles. Yeah, I have too many. But there's something that's made them decide, yes, I'm gonna subscribe. And again, it lets me know that there's something about this channel, there's something about my content, or me, or the vehicles, that's made you say, yeah, I want to see more of this. And again, I appreciate you. It makes it so much more fulfilling and worthwhile. And like I say, I know that it may just be the vehicles, and that's fine. You know, some people may be here to watch me. That tends to be more friends and family. People are most likely here to see one of my vehicles. Maybe you're here for this amazing beast of a machine. I know he certainly still has a place in my life anyway. Not that I really need a 125 anymore, in all honesty. But then I am commuting to work with him, so at least for now he's not going anywhere. Or maybe you're here for Little Miss. I don't want to go back on the road, so I'm going to piss all over the floor. Or you could be here for the accidental Peugeot 306 project, or Little Miss, yes, my head gasket's blown, but I'm still good to go to Peugeot Festival next week. Whatever you're here for, still appreciate you, man. One thing I did notice though, now first of all, it's no secret that YouTubers want views and they want subscribers. Like I say, it lets me know that there's something about the channel that works for you, that I'm doing something right, and that you want to see more of that content. But one thing that I did notice recently, I was looking at the video analytics of one of Rafiki's most recent videos, and 3/4 of the viewers of that video were not subscribed. And then I looked at one of Laren's, and it was just over half of the viewers on Laren's most recent video were also not subscribed. Now, as I say, I appreciate all of my viewers, But if you are a viewer and you're not a subscriber, and you do return to the channel, please consider subscribing. It'll let me know, at the very least, that there's something about the channel that works for you. There's something about the content that works for you, and lets me know that, at the very least, that I'm doing something right. And then there are members of my audience who drop a like on the video or drop a comment on the video. And dropping a like on someone's video is, well, it's absolute. You know, it means not just I'm here, I'm watching, or I'm subscribed. It's absolute. It means I like this video, and that's a nice little bit of data for me to reflect upon. And then there's comments. It's really nice to interact with people through comments, and occasionally, yes, you do get, I think inevitably from time to time, you're going to get someone who just wants to leave a hate comment. Fortunately, they are few and far between. You know, 99% of my comments are positive. There's the occasional hater who, yeah, I guess you have to develop a thick skin and just not let it bother you, you know. But comments, yeah, it's nice to interact with people through comments. There's some people who comment regularly, not just friends and family, but other people who've come to the channel organically, and it's nice to interact with these people through the comments. And then there's requests. I don't get too many requests, to be quite honest. I've had a couple of requests though. The first request I ever got was a funny one. It was a guy saying, "Oh mate, I was doing this job on my bike and I've lost this bolt." And I can't remember what job it was he was doing now, but he was doing some job and he'd taken off some parts and he'd lost some bolts, and he's like, "Oh mate, I need to order a new bolt for this and I don't know what size it is." So I literally went into the garage, pulled off whatever bolt it was, measured it, sent him the measurements, and credit to him, he actually messaged me back straight away and said, "Thanks so much, I've just ordered one." And then again, a few days later, he messaged me saying, "It turned up and it's a perfect fit. Thank you so much." It was so random. It was literally like, "Mate, can you go and measure this bolt for me?" But hey, it worked. It helped him out, and the bolt was the correct size. That was quite a funny one. But when I talk about requests, I'm talking more specific. I guess that bolt was very specific. But when I'm talking requests, what I actually mean is someone once left me a comment asking me to post some footage of the pillion seat and pillion peg removal, which was a job that I intended to do. So eventually, took a while until I was ready to do the job, but eventually I did that job and I posted up that footage. And hey, I don't know if it helped that person, but I certainly hope that it helped someone. And there's something quite rewarding about helping others, in my opinion anyway. You know, knowing that I've helped someone solve a problem. Yeah, there's a sense of satisfaction that comes from that. So if there's anything that you think I can help you with, drop me a comment or drop me an email, and if I think it's within my scope, then I'll help you out. And now I would like to flip the script 180 degrees and talk about what I did when I first started getting into bikes. So when I first started thinking to myself, yeah, I probably want a bike, well, like most people, I took to the internet to do some research on bikes and try and work out what I liked. You know, jumped on eBay, looked at plenty of bikes, went to bike shows, etc. And through that I started to think I quite like the YZF R125. So then, like a lot of people, I went to YouTube to see what content I could find on the YZF R125, and I started watching a couple of YouTubers. And now I'd like to give a shout out to two of them. And although I'm giving a shout out to these two YouTubers, it won't actually mean anything to anyone, really. It won't even mean anything to the two YouTubers, because you see, they are former YouTubers. They closed their accounts, so it won't really mean anything to anyone. And if you recognise either of these YouTubers, I'll be impressed. But yeah, even these YouTubers themselves are probably not ever going to see this video. But yeah, there was a couple of YouTubers who I particularly liked their content. The first of which is a guy called Dave. His channel was called It's Another Dave, and he had a YZF R125 in blue, in the exact same colour scheme as Rafiki here. You know, the same blue, the same stickers, the same black parts of the bike. His was a 2014 model, and I watched every piece of content that he had because I really started to like the bike, and I watched some of his videos and I actually really liked him as a creator. He went and did his test as well whilst he had his channel. He went and passed his test, and in a bit of a eerie kind of way now looking back on it, he went and bought a Triumph Daytona 675, which is a little bit spooky because that's what I've gone and got. And I've also got the exact same bike, you know, colour scheme, etc. that he had. Although admittedly I think his Daytona 675 was the R. But yeah, he went and passed his test, got his big bike, and then after a month, 2 months, he decided to hang up his helmet, hang up his gloves, decided actually not just to ditch YouTube, but to give up biking completely, which sounds quite severe. But actually what he said was to his viewers, he said, look, I have to be sensible here. He says, I've gone and got this big bike and I just cannot resist the urge to ride fast all the time, use all its power. He says, quite frankly, I'm riding like a dick. Now, I have to give the guy credit for admitting that, not just to himself but to his viewers. Here's a guy who said, look, I've got a daughter to think about here, I can't be going and killing myself on a bike, and I've tried to be sensible, but I just can't resist the thrill, I can't resist the urge to ride fast, and it's not going to end well, so I'm gonna leave it here. And I was gutted because his channel was my favourite channel, you know, he was my favourite YouTuber. I loved his content and his style, and of course I loved his bike, and then he just decided enough's enough and he gave it up. But of course, like I say, he gave it up with good reason, so, you know, fair play to you, Dave. You'll probably never see this video, but I appreciate you, man. You really helped me out when I was getting into bikes, and I think about you and your channel when I'm making my videos. The really funny thing here as well is that when I came to buy Rafiki, I decided that this was the bike I wanted, first generation. I wanted this exact colour scheme. Some of you will know this because I've said this before, and I held out for this exact colour scheme, you know, these exact stickers, everything. There was actually two bikes I was looking at. When I'd whittled it down to what I wanted, there was two identical bikes I was looking at. There was Rafiki, and there was another bike exactly the same price, only the nose cone was white and it needed painting because it had been in an accident. That bike with the white nose cone, that was Dave's actual bike, and in the end I went with Rafiki because as a bike he was in better condition. He had what, just under 8,000 miles on, and the other one had about 18. Rafiki was okay, a couple of 100 miles away from where I lived, but the other bike was a couple of 100 miles on top of that. So, you know, as a guy in the market for a bike, it made more sense to buy Rafiki, and I'm glad that I did. You know, at least for the moment, Rafiki's not going anywhere. But to think that Dave's bike, had I bought that bike, Dave's bike would once again be a YouTube star. That's quite funny for me, at least, when I think about that. Anyway, Thanks Dave for all your content. The other YouTuber that I want to give a quick mention to, again a former YouTuber, I forget his actual name, but his channel name was An Idiot Biker, and he had a Yamaha YZF R125 in red, a 2008 model called Rose. Now that, I don't know, read into that as you will, but I remember his bike was called Rose, but I can't remember his name. I'm not sure whether he actually ever told us his name. Yeah, let's go with that, otherwise it makes me look bad. But I loved his content. He was a very small YouTuber. I was his 50th subscriber. You know, 50. No, I've been there. And back then, of course, I hadn't any intentions of becoming a YouTuber. I watched this guy because he had the bike that I wanted, and I liked his style as well. You know, he actually had a full license, and he had a Fireblade as well as his 125. And you know, I think about myself keeping my 125 whilst I've got my Daytona at home, and in some respects it doesn't really make much sense, you know. I've got another bike that can do so much more than this bike can, you know, why keep the two of them? But then I think of an idiot biker who did the same thing, actually. You know, looking back, he used to take his Fireblade out for fun, you know, if he was doing a long distance or a ride out, for example. But then for work, he would commute on his 125. Feel like I'm following in the footsteps of these two former YouTubers. So, an idiot biker, you'll probably never see this video, but thank you for all your content. I appreciate it. You know, I always appreciated it, and I don't know why this chap closed his channel, but anyway, big thank you to you as well, sir. You certainly made my introduction to motorbikes a pleasant one.